Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. My name is Steve. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to Britain's new super mine, the mine that no one's heard of. Unfortunately, as you can hear in my voice, I'm still dealing with the respiratory stuff. Hopefully that'll be over with in the next few days and I can finally get back to normal after what's probably going to be about 2 weeks of dealing with this. But this popped into my feed, and I've always loved looking into the engineering feats and the mega projects and things like this. So I think this will be right up my alley. I've never heard of this before. I don't know anything about it, but this is called the Woodsmith Polyhalite mine, Britain's first large-scale mine in decades. I do know that Britain has a long history of mining. I didn't know that when I first started this channel, but I do know that now. But I've really never looked into the mining industry in the UK. I've never learned about any of the history of mining. It's something that I've definitely had on my list for quite some time. So if you have any recommendations regarding mining or similar types of subjects that you think I'd like to check out, please feel free to leave them in the comments. But guys, I don't even know what polyhalite is. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but I have no idea what that mineral is. So I guess we'll find out what that is as well. But enough rambling from me, guys. Let's go ahead and check out the Woodsmith Polyhalite mine, Britain's new super mine.
Smith Polyhalite mine.
Britain's
first large-scale mine in decades. By Anglo-American. This high-tech supermine, once completed, will be the largest and highest-grade polyhalite mine in the world. That's because a polyhalite seam with such high purity and in a location that allows processing and shipping to be viable has...
Wait, is polyhalite the little material that comes in a bag of soil? Or is it something to do with fertilizer? That's what I think this might be. Okay, so that's obviously a very important product. And so, wow, the largest polyhalite mine in the world
has only been discovered in the UK. A rare commodity that only Britain possesses, and thanks to this mine, could see that £100 billion flows into the UK economy over the next 50 years. Before we get into the mine, it's important to first briefly talk about what polyhalite is, because it's the new kid on the block in the fertilizer world. Polyhalite is a type of potash which some experts claim to be the Rolls-Royce of potash. Potash is a potassium-rich salt-based mineral which is commonly used as fertilizer all over the world. The unique advantage of polyhalite over other common forms of potash is that it contains 4 out of the 6 key essential nutrients that all plant life needs to grow.
Oh, wow.
These key nutrients are potassium, magnesium,
nitrogen,
calcium, and sulfur. Under the brand name Poly4, Anglo-American will be looking to market it as a multi-nutrient, low-chloride, ultra-low carbon fertilizer, certified for organic use that can increase crop yields as well as improve and protect soil conditions. When compared to the 2 most commonly used potassium fertilizers, Poly4 produces 93% less CO2 than sulfate of potash and 85% less than muriate of potash. I will provide links in the description for those who would like to learn more about Poly4.
That's wild. So Britain is the only place in the world that this can be mined. That's what he said. I don't know how accurate that is. Please let me know in the comments if that's correct. But that's insane. So this vital commodity for agriculture around the world can only be found in Britain. And so that's why the super mine is being developed. And wow. So a very, very important mine, definitely.
It's too big a topic for me to cover fully in this video. Located in, or should I say under, the North York Moors National Park in Yorkshire, England, 2 miles south of the town Whitby. Here's where they found a potential resource of 2.69 billion tonnes of polyhalite, which would give the mine a lifespan of around 100 years, and an identified reserve of 290 million tonnes, which gives the mine a lifespan of over 30 years. Originally deposited around 260 million years ago, when an ancient sea dried up, the polyhalite was actually discovered by accident. The polyhalite was first discovered back in the 1930s by oil prospectors who were drilling for oil. Only decades later was it realized to...
Wait, hold on, guys. I just realized something. This can't be the only place that polyhalite is mined, because they said this is going to be the largest polyhalite mine in the world. So obviously there are other polyhalite mines, and there has to be, because polyhalite is something that's being used in agriculture as we speak. So I guess this is simply the largest polyhalite mine in the world, but still, that is a very big deal, because it's such an important commodity. One that I didn't even know existed, but obviously seems like it has a huge influence on the agricultural industry. So this is obviously a very important find, a very important mine that they're building.
To be a valuable mineral, thanks to two geologists whom which the mine was fittingly named after.
Why is it called the Woodsmith mine?
Well, after the two of us.
Oh, Wood and Smith, is that their two? Yeah.
It overlaps in the middle.
So they cut the S off.
Set to go into production in 2027, and throughout construction will create over 2,000 jobs for the local area.
Wow.
The mine near Whitby will be accessed via two main shafts.
That's huge. So this has got to be, because I know the area isn't like, I don't remember exactly what the population of Whitby is, but this would be employment for the citizens of Whitby mostly, probably, right? Let me know in the comments, guys, what other large towns are around the area. But I'm thinking 2,000 jobs is a huge employer for the area, if I'm not mistaken. It's got to be. It's got to be a massive employer. That's awesome. And I'm guessing these jobs are going to probably pay pretty well as well. And from what I understand, the UK mining industry isn't nearly as strong as it used to be. I think that's the case for a lot of areas, but this is probably a very welcomed place in the area, obviously.
Each of these shafts will be 1.5 kilometers deep.
Wow.
That's almost 1 mile deep, which will make it the deepest mine in Europe. Due to its location, a much treasured national park, strict criteria were set in place in order for the mine to be built. In order to not disturb the protected area of natural beauty, the mine had to be designed with minimal impact. In fact, unless you have a helicopter, you would never even know it was there. And even then, it would just look like any other farm buildings.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's going to be like a mine that if you're riding around, you're not even going to know it's there, dude. It's just going to be inside of buildings and stuff. Wow. Because when I think of a mine, I think of, just like the land is barren, and there's no trees, and it's just kind of, honestly, makes the landscape not as appealing, especially if it's surrounded by, forests and stuff like this. But that's not going to be the case here. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. So they're going to be able to keep, the beautiful natural landscape for the most part.
The mine has been designed to be completely invisible to passers-by.
Wow.
They even built a curve into the access road so anyone driving by would only see woodland. When constructing a deep mine, you would typically have large winding towers at the surface, which would be used for lowering and lifting people, machinery and material.
Right.
But being located in a national park, Woodsmith's giant winding towers, also known as headframes, will be hidden in 60-meter deep chambers to minimize visual impact, a world first in mining. These chambers will be constructed using an engineering method called diaphragm walling. Once finished, the first 60 meters was excavated to house the 45-meter tall winding towers and other infrastructure. The main mine shaft.
How in the world, you have to forgive me about this, I don't know much about this at all, honestly. How in the world do they just drop those down with cranes, I guess? Wow, okay.
Will then be mechanically sunk using an innovative third-generation machine called a shaft boring road header, a design inspired by tunnel boring machines. The SBR is faster and safer than traditional drill and blasting methods. Since being lowered into the foreshaft, the SBR has now begun its 1 mile journey down to the polyhalite.
Oh, wow.
Rotating in a star pattern, the cutting head can cut 200 millimeters deep with each pass. Every 5 of these cycles, the shaft becomes 1 meter deeper.
Oh, wow.
Material is then sucked back up the shaft and into skips, which are then hoisted to the surface for
That's
either
amazing.
release or clearance. As it descends, depending on the rock formation, the SBR will line the shaft with either steel or concrete, or both depending on the geology. To allow for faster operation, the liner deck can move independently to the cutter head below.
Wow.
The SBR is also equipped with 2 robotic probes, which can test the ground ahead for safer excavation. It can be remotely operated from control rooms on the upper deck or from the surface, and capable of fully autonomous operation for long periods of time. All this makes for a safer and more efficient shaft sinking process. The mineral seam will then be mined using a combination of drill and blast and continuous mining machines.
That's so
which
cool.
will then feed flexible conveyor belts that will take it back to the production shaft. The ore is then hoisted up to 360 meters below the surface, where it is then transferred to the mineral transport system. The mineral transport system is truly a remarkable feat of engineering. Once the ore is mined, it needs to then get to the materials handling facility at the Wilton Industrial Complex at T.
So is this what mining generally is nowadays? Is it this modern? I still picture, just when I picture mining, I picture a bunch of guys with hard hats going down with pickaxes and then there's rail cars that bring. I'm pretty much thinking of coal because that's the main mining that I've, kind of seen at all. I don't have a lot of experience with mining, but this is fascinating. This is really interesting. I would love to go down there just to see what this is like. I'd love to go down at any mine to see what it's like to do this job. I'm someone who has a little bit of claustrophobia. Even though I've worked under tight spaces before, I just dealt with the claustrophobia, but it is something that I would have to be concerned with in a situation like this. But if I ever had the opportunity to go into a mine like this, I absolutely would. I would deal with the claustrophobia because I would take up that offer if I had the offer to do so, because I think this is so fascinating, guys. It makes me want to look into mining more and see, what today's mining looks like versus what, past mining looked like. Now, I know this is a polyhalite mine, so this might be slightly different from what you'd see in, coal or other minerals. But I'm guessing that modern mines have obviously been modernized, and it's quite a bit different than what it used to be. I know it's probably much safer than it was to go back, decades ago. And I think polyhalite is probably a little bit lighter than a lot of the other stuff you're mining for. I don't know that for sure. I just have that in my head that it's probably a bit lighter. Let me know in the comments if that's correct. But this is interesting, guys.
Side 23 miles away. To avoid the costs, complications and pollution involved with using traditional transportation services such as trucks and trains, a 23-mile-long concrete-lined tunnel is currently being dug between the Woodsmith mine and the materials handling facility at Wilton. Once completed, the underground conveyor belt system will be the longest anywhere in the world. A tunnel boring machine is used to dig the tunnel. It started its journey at the Wilton site before heading for...
That's crazy. They're not even going to have to drive this material to processing. They're literally building a tunnel. Wow. That's insane. Okay.
Woodsmith. The Wilton site is also where the concrete factory is located, which will supply the TBM with the segments used to line the tunnel.
Wow.
Like a giant mechanical worm, the TBM with its giant multi-rotor cutting head at the front nibbles away at the rock, which then falls into the machine and is whisked away on a conveyor belt. Every few meters, the TBM stops to install the giant concrete segments, which are continuously passed down via a locomotive running through the middle of the TBM,
that's crazy.
coming from the concrete factory on the surface. When a concrete ring is completed, a machine then grouts between the concrete lining and the rock to secure it in place. Once the lining is secure, the TBM uses hydraulic jacks to propel itself forward.
How do people come up with stuff like this?
The 23-mile-long conveyor belt system, capable of transporting the ore at a speed of 6.5 meters per second, is then installed as well as a maintenance railway and some utilities and power cables for
That's
the
crazy.
mine. This all means that the ore never sees the surface until it reaches the mineral handling facility, which is then only a 4-kilometre short trip away to the port on yet another conveyor belt. Once at the mineral handling facility, the ore will go through several simple processing stages, where it will be turned into the final product.
Wow.
Arriving from its 23-mile journey, the ore will first be deposited in a storage shed. From here, an automated conveyor belt system takes the ore on a continuous production line around the facility. First, it is crushed to a fine powder, then graded to remove any large pieces. Then, using a natural starch, it is then granulated to a uniform size. The granules are then screened and dried before being transported to the port for shipping.
Wow.
Thanks to its 88.8% purity, there is very little waste and no chemicals are used in the processing of polyhalite at all. The final leg of the journey will be in a 4-kilometre long, fully concealed conveyor belt where it will be loaded into cargo ships at the Bran Sands port facility on the River Tees, which is the UK's northern gateway to global shipping routes.
Wow. So I wonder if this, what was it, did you say 4 kilometers or 4 miles? Either way, this last leg of this conveyor belt, I wonder if this is going to be above ground or if that's going to be below ground as well. It sounds like it's probably going to be below ground as well. I'm not 100% sure, but that's crazy, guys.
Here, Anglo American will be able to ship up to 13 million tons of Poly 4 to customers around the world each year. The first ore is expected to be shipped in 2027. So why are people lining up to buy polyhalite? It's estimated that the population will reach 10 billion by 2050, which means more mouths to feed. Arable land is limited, so farmers are looking at ways to increase yields from the same amount of space.
Production and
they're also looking at ways to farm in a cleaner and more sustainable way.
Right.
Agricultural universities and research institutions have studied more than 80 broad-acre crops in over 1,000 crop trials throughout 44 countries across 5 continents, and they've consistently shown that polyhalite outperforms other potassium fertilizers in both crop yields and quality. If you enjoyed the content in this video, it would mean...
Guys, this was incredible. What's that? Can Britain retake power from France with Rose? That's interesting. Wouldn't mind looking at that too. But wow. So am I mistaken? Is this literally as clean as mining can get? I mean, the mine is not even going to be seen from, you can put a drone up, you're not going to be able to see the mine. It's not going to be a bunch of trees just destroyed for, a huge area around. It's just a mine straight down, about a mile. And then from when they mine this, it literally gets shipped up, was a 23-mile conveyor belt underground. And then there's really not any chemicals that are used in the processing of the mines. There's very little waste product left. And then they're going to process it and ship it another 4 miles on hidden conveyor belt. Not 100% sure if that's underground, but I think it is. To the port where roughly 13, I can't remember how many tons, a lot of polyhalite is going to be shipped all around the world. This is incredible, guys. I would love to go in this mine. I'd love to go into any mine and explore because I don't have any experience with mines. This is something I've really not, learned about that much. And please feel free to leave any recommendations for similar types of content. I love the mega projects, guys. I love the engineering feats, and I'd love to learn more about mining and things like this. But it sounds like Britain is about to be a little bit richer for this mine back in 2027, because this is going to be the largest, supposedly the largest polyhalite mine in the world. And you've got, I think you said 100+ years of reserves here, which is insane. And So in this way, in some ways, Britain is going to really help increase food production the world over through this mine right here, which is really interesting, and that's awesome. And also the fact that not only is this a clean mine, from what I understand, I think this is cleaner than most mines probably are. But so this is going to be probably a future mine, the modernization of mining, if you will, from what I understand, what it looks like here. And it's going to literally bring 2,000 jobs to the local area around Whitby. So I'm sure that's very much appreciated, I'm guessing. Let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think about this? Do you think this is going to be as big a deal as it seems like it is to me, just learning about it for the first time here? And let me know, like I said, if you have any recommendations for other content that are similar to this, please let me know. But thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. And also, guys, please wish me luck on finally getting rid of this respiratory, whatever this is. I'm so ready to be done with it. But thank you so much, guys. Until next time, peace.